Yesterday, as soon as I heard about the 2 police officers and 1 citizen shot dead in Las Vegas, Nevada, I knew the headlines would be this morning: super patriots connected to the Tea Party and the Bundy Ranch crisis responsible. And then I got up this morning at 5:15 a.m., and sure enough, that was the headlines. And then all the George Soros-affiliated websites like Wonka and others just magically got supposed photos of the killers, the alleged killers, dressed up as the Joker and other Batman villains, and the skinny man that is attributed to teenagers stabbing and murdering dozens across the United States. Of course, it doesn't matter if these people are mentally ill and doing this because they blur the macabre fantasy of the sick culture into reality. I will be blamed. And you can bet your bottom dollar by this afternoon, it hasn't happened yet, not that I know of, but you can bet your bottom dollar by this afternoon, yours truly will be blamed for the 2 dead cops. And I've been through this before. Now, whether this is staged, and boy, there's a lot of evidence it is, or whether this is just organic mind control of the sick culture, people that feel so empty and poor and pathetic that they want power, so they imagine they're comic book villains and go out and kill police. Whether this is ritualistic warfare and the veneer of civilization wearing away, or whether this is staged, it is all part of the sick culture. And I don't have a big crew. I have a great crew. But I know for a fact, probably 100 times the last 6 months, I have said that you're going to start seeing police officers getting shot in public. And it's going to be blamed on the Tea Party and, quote, super patriots, because it's in the dramas, it's in the sitcoms, it's in the movies, it's in the comic books. And whether it's staged black op false flags, which we know have happened in the past, or whether it's weak-minded schizophrenics or people with all sorts of personality disorders going out and doing it, it's the sick culture. I mean, if you showed hundreds of TV shows with women poking their babies' eyes out with ice picks, you would have mentally ill women by the dozens every year start poking babies' eyes out with ice picks. That's what advertising is. And I've talked a lot about this that for years before they walled it off where you couldn't do it at the Empire State Building and other landmarks. Every time a man or woman jumped off, you would have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or more people show up within hours of it being on the news to try to jump off like lemmings as well. In fact, if a woman did it, you'd have women show up and do it. This is in criminology. If a man did it, you'd have men show up to do it. It's called copycats. And this is now 4 shootings that have Batman connections. But the CNN headline is, Las Vegas shooters were racist anti-government. And then you read the article, and it says they were obsessed with Batman and the skinny man and dressed up like murdering ghouls. And I'm not saying blame the people that write those comic books, but I mean, sure as, you know what, don't blame me. And I could tell you what happened with other talk show hosts that came out and said, Alex Jones is calling for violence. Just in the last month, he's going to cause killings and all the rest of it. Don't be with him when I'm calling for not killing people and not killing police. I said, that person's been given the intel. This is about to unfold, and he doesn't want to be blamed with a false flag. And I told you it's coming. I told you. I know the next move. I'll tell you next. NATO is in command of the entire U.S. military publicly. Homeland Security now says their mission has nothing to do with Al-Qaeda or Muslim extremists. It has to do with the Tea Party, who will launch police-killing terror attacks any minute. With no evidence of that, now it's beginning. 2 + 2 = 4. Even though they teach in Common Core, it equals whatever they say. The borders are completely wide open. Tens of millions of people are flooding here as we speak. Hundreds of thousands a month pouring over the borders, being given driver's licenses in California to pull the lever to ban guns. We are in the middle of a globalist revolution against this country right now, and my gut tells me that the cold-blooded, degenerate, evil killing of 2 police officers and a citizen in Las Vegas yesterday is absolutely staged, ladies and gentlemen. And I will document here on air how it is staged right now. Because one way or another, the sick, twisted culture of death and of destruction porn that Hollywood sells to the narcissistic masses was responsible for manipulating the mental illness of these individuals and others, or, and this is the much more likely analysis, this was staged. There is so much proof of this being staged yesterday when I first read it and this morning that my mind with points, and quite frankly, it's conclusive. So conclusive that the team, who does an amazing job, is digging through the literally hundreds of predictions I made since the Bundy Ranch situation on air, sometimes more than 30 times per show. I said they're going to go into restaurants and they're going to start killing police. They're going to go into Walmarts. They're going to start shooting people. They're going to go into movie theaters. They're going to start shooting people. And it's going to be blamed on the Tea Party and the, quote, super patriots. Word for word, within hours of this happening yesterday, it was in the news with no proof that they were right-wing Tea Party patriots. Then today, they're now directly saying we need Homeland Security to go after anyone that criticizes the government, while the government has been captured by foreign banks, criminally stealing tens of trillions per quarter in banker bailout money to private mega banks, bankrupting us with Obamacare by design. You name it. 5 dead, 2 police officers, the 2 supposed shooters, isn't that convenient, husband and wife, and 1 wall Martian, as the media likes to call them. Some poor person. Who knows? A witness we don't know. And we have a supposed photo with the George Soros-affiliated satire site so they can put out disinfo, wonk it. And we'll scroll down and show image.com/. And Amanda, the super patriots, who gunned down a couple of cops and a lady who were going to Walmart in Vegas yesterday. So they already know what happened. And CNN already knows what happens. Super patriots killed. Las Vegas shooters were racist, anti-government. You read the article, doesn't say anything about that. It says they were obsessed and dressed up like the characters from Batman, Joker, and Harley Quinn, and the fictional horror character that recently suffered in the stabbing of a 12-year-old girl in Wisconsin, Skinny Man. You know, the people that shot governors, the people that shot John Lennon, the people that Sirhan that shot RFK, they all had copies of Catcher in the Rye. They were obsessed with it. I've talked to the detectives, the police officers, and family members of some of the people I just named. And I'm not allowed to say any more at that point. But the FBI came in and told them to shut up and basically told them, you know, if you don't want to be dead, don't investigate this. Even the LAPD's report said that Sirhan, who was clearly drugged, did not shoot Robert F. Kennedy. The point is, people say, why do they have a book? Because that's the template with the electroshock, 6 months of audio recordings, the drugs, all of it. And they're using, and I've been saying this before it ever happened, with Aurora and now 4 other incidents, that they're using the Joker as a programming template in mind control. And we know that Holmes of Aurora was under mind control, told police that. Witnesses saw other shooters. He was drugged up in the parking lot like Sirhan. Sirhan wasn't even part of the shooting. Was under high-level Air Force psychiatric care in a above top secret DARPA mind control program. Denver Post, ladies and gentlemen. That he was in a super advanced DARPA secret program being given $97,000 a year by DARPA. His dad, top mathematician in super equations. Theodore Kaczynski, the Unabomber. LA Times was CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, for 18 years in MK Ultra. MK Ultra. MK Naomi. Now, let's be clear. The programming is now so powerful. They don't even need to get you in a laboratory now with the chemicals in the food, the water, the culture, the flicker rate, hypnotizing people. You've seen the TV shows that have been documented by Scotland Yard. We've shown clips of it. I forget the name of it. Jacobson will run here and tell me the name in a minute. He's a big viewer of it. Where they're able to brainwash people off the street to be able to go and believe they're committing an assassination in 1 hour. Now, they do it because they talk to 100 people, do tests, and find who is more suggestible out of 100 people. That's what the government does. They get university students into DARPA and Air Force programs. They've got handlers, top Air Force psychiatrists, you name it. In the case of Aurora, this is on record. And then they just roll them out, ladies and gentlemen, usually just to be drugged up and take the fall and not know if they did it or not. Folks, they could take the strongest person. The North Koreans were able to do this. The North Vietnamese were able to do it with U.S. soldiers. They could take a Marine Corps colonel and in a month have them saying whatever they wanted, folks, and believing it. They take some college kid with a high IQ and Asperger's, one of their favorite programmable types, because they're so machine-like, and they can have them doing whatever they want in a matter of days. Now, Harry Reid comes out and says, we're going to do something about this. These are domestic terrorists at the Bundy Ranch. Everybody needs to be arrested. They roll out last week the Domestic Terrorism Task Force saying the Tea Party's the #1 enemy. I told you they've been building this behind the scenes. Now they're rolling it out. They're releasing terrorists saying, you know, well, they have yoga classes. We'll release them. That's in the New York Post. They're saying speech is connected to this. We need to shut down speech. And they're rolling out all this internet censorship and internet IDs this month. The current issue of our magazine just came out today. Death of the Internet is the title. They're making their move on every front right now to demonize their opposition because of Benghazi, the false flag, Fast and Furious. Listen, if they would ship more than 20,000 guns to Mexico, to criminal cartels, to then trace them back to crime in the U.S., to blame every gun owner, that's 170 million people out of 315 million. If they would frame more than half this country for the crime in Mexico and say it's your fault, thousands of dead in Mexico, hundreds in the U.S., including at least 7 police officers, Border Patrol, would they stage this now? And the answer is absolutely. If they would use al-Qaeda to attack Syria, Libya, Egypt, all these other countries and give them weapons, would they do this now? Would they stage chemical attacks and get caught 3 times this year? Even the UN admits it? Yes. If they would stage al-Qaeda attacks, if they would do all of this, would they do this to get our guns and blame the Tea Party that's sweeping in every runoff election and every primary right now? Defeating, in almost every case, 90+% of Republican incumbents are going down. 1776 is happening peacefully through the system. They want to start a civil war with the police. They want to march their operatives, their globalists. It may have even been cutouts who were told, you're part of a drill, come to this pizza place. This is a lot of times how they do it. Like the Zarnev brothers. One of them admitted CIA. That's mainstream news. In CIA-funded programs with fake names, the Russians blew his cover. And I kept telling you, they're getting ready to false flag, and it happens right in Harry Reid's district, right in his state, right in his city, with his police department. Now, the cops look shell-shocked. I don't think they're in on it. They probably, if I was them, I'd run patsies as part of a drill, special ops, probably foreign, kill them, shoot a few people, and then set the whole thing in motion. And I need listeners to go through all the YouTube videos, all the archives, and flood YouTube with Alex Jones predicts Las Vegas police killings. And that I would then be blamed after the Liberty Movement's blamed. It hasn't happened yet, but I don't have time to track it. They're probably blaming me right now on MSNBC. And I knew as soon as I heard yesterday, and then sure enough, the supposed shooters who are conveniently dead like to dress up like the Joker and like Skinny Man. And the Skinny Man, there have been scores of stabbings around the country as teenagers stab other children to death because that's what Skinny Man would do. That's how you become powerful. People are obsessed with comic books. Adults, I know, are. And they really think it's real. I mean, I go with my friends, you know, and see comic book movies, and I see grown men getting really excited and crying. And, I mean, this is mind control, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, RawStory, again, Democrat front group. Las Vegas Revolution shooters ID'd as right-wing conspiracy nuts with death wish. Boom! Look like hippie nerds to me. Not blame. Oh, Alex Jones. Boom, boom, boom. When was that published? I bet it was before I even got on air today. EDT. 30 minutes before I went on air, I'm being blamed. Democrat-run group gets direct talking points from the White House. RawStory, part of the whole globalist ring. Boom. I mean, what did MSNBC say? I am, quote, deeply racist, and did not show one single piece of proof because I'm the opposite. They hate the fact that I'm fighting the infanticide of black babies. They hate the fact I'm fighting Gardasil injection of Mexican girls in Mexico. They hate it. They absolutely hate it. I was down in San Marcos this weekend tubing with Dew and his kids and my kids, and it was like Cinco de Mayo down there. I think there was about 90% Hispanic Americans down there, and about every fifth person I went by was a huge listener. Other folks, Alex Jones, we appreciate what you're doing. Again, this transmission reaches everybody. Everybody wants freedom. The globalists cannot stand it, ladies and gentlemen. And I can feel the eye of Sauron upon me, and I'm in God's hands is all I can say. But I tell you, I have the enemy's number 100%. And I'm having a little gallows humor here, folks, because this is epically insane. I never wanted to be in this position. I don't like being famous. I don't like the incredible danger I'm under, quite frankly, at the very tip of the spear. And the enemy absolutely hates me. And the White House responds to us routinely and demonizes us. And, I mean, I have the enemy watching and listening to the show every day because they know I know who they are. And I know their game, and I know their plan. And my continued living, quite frankly, is that other people learn the enemy combination, the enemy paradigm, the enemy MO. Because if enough people pick up the enemy signature, the enemy program, the enemy operation, the enemy recipe, it's over for them. We can blow their operation wide open. Believe me, folks, Harry Reid comes out and says anybody who doesn't want these BLM land grabs is a terrorist. We're going to come after him, domestic task force. And then in his run, this happens, and they're connecting it to that. CNN last night and this morning, and now to yours truly. And you notice through the grapevine, other high-level people got the word in the so-called conservative media, you're going to be blamed with this unless you make a break. So they came out and they said, Alex Jones wants dead people, wants dead cops. Alex Jones is behind this. He wants murder. But I'm saying the opposite. And then now I come on air just a few weeks ago on 3 or 4 shows and said to protect myself, I said, I've got to respond to this host. They've been threatened. They've been told this is coming. And again, I know that because previously I know he was threatened. Oklahoma City blamed on him if he didn't play ball. And he went on Fox News on one of his last shows and said they're preparing new... And I sung his praises, played the clip, and I said he's got it. He's been threatened, folks. The Democrat memos say they need staged terror attacks. They need staged shootings. We've shown those here on air. So they think you're so dumb. They're running these operations out in the open. I mean, folks, when you understand this, the enemy's uncloaked. They're completely naked. We've got their whole op. I'm going to break it down when we come back.
We're on the march. Empires on the Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
This is Scottish John for Infowars.com. I know that most of you here in this commercial already know about the New World Order, eugenics, and all the other issues covered here at Infowars. The question is, do your friends and family know? If not, then I want to know why. Oh, I know it's tough to talk about this with some people. They might call you names, or they just want to talk about sports or soap operas. I say, so what? There's a battle going on out there right now. The ammunition is information, and the soldiers are you. It's time to transform your game from passive listener to active participant. We from Scotland have had our skin in this game for the greater part of the last 1,000 years, and I'm still fighting. If we don't all stand up right now, we're going to lose everything. The Infowar is worldwide. Tell your friends about Infowars and let them know that Infowars doesn't print bull. It's real journalism and news backed up by documented fact. Step up and take your friends and family to Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.tv and PlanetInfowars.com. The truth will set them free.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. It took me 20 years of searching the globe to find the deposit of the highest purity iodine available. The new Survival Shield X2 is mined from 7,000 to 10,000 feet below the earth in pristine, environmentally clean conditions. The iodine crystals we use are extracted from an ancient 300 million plus year old deposit deep in the earth. It's the strongest nascent iodine on the market today. It delivers 650 micrograms per drop. Experience the new formula. Experience the ancient purity. Shield your family. Survival Shield X2. Available now at InfoWarsLife.com.
X2 from InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
I don't know what it is. Ralph just won't pay any attention to me. When he comes home from work, all he ever does is play video games and go to sleep. It's like I don't even exist.
Oh, Betty, that's just awful.
Does this seem familiar? If the answer to this question is yes, then listen carefully. Toxic pesticides, GMO foods and additives, BPA plastics, contaminated water supplies. Many of these toxic additives are deliberately engineered to attack and weaken human masculinity. It's part of the eugenics population control movement. Look it up. If men are more interested in online gaming than they are in their wives, a serious population crisis is soon to follow. Energize the man in your life with Super Male Vitality from InfoWarsLife.com. It's designed to aid the body in ways that help invigorate your natural systems without artificial testosterone, completely free of GMOs, harmful additives, gluten, and is made right here in the USA. Get your Super Male Vitality right now at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
Renewed hostile actions against United States ships on the high seas and the Gulf of Tonkin have today required me to order the military forces of the United States to take action in reply.
Dr. Martin Luther King, the apostle of nonviolence in the civil rights movement, has been shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee.
Senator Kennedy has been shot. Is that possible? He still has the gun. The gun is pointed at me at this moment. Take a hold of his thumb and break it if you have to. We are an explosion and we are defending immediately. Let's try our best.
People people calling themselves members of the Weather Underground last night planted bombs in federal office buildings in Washington and Oakland, California.
They took the babies out of the incubators and left the children to die on the cold floor.
Survivors of the USS Liberty are demanding a congressional investigation into what happened and acknowledgement that the Israeli Air Force bombed a U.S. intelligence Navy ship.
The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat al-Qaeda.
The Taliban is taking responsibility for shooting down a U.S. helicopter. More than 30 people were killed, and there are reports this morning that most of them are U.S. Navy SEALs.
There may be a false flag incident where some ship goes down and you be used for the excuse to accelerate the next war.
And if there's one thing that has unified Democrats and Republicans, and everybody in between, is that we all hated the bank bailout.
The Department of Homeland Security is apparently on a huge ammo buying spree.
It comes out to like 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition.
Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people.
They estimated that they would have to eliminate 25 million people in these re-education centers. And when I say eliminate, I mean kill.
I'm here to warn people. You keep telling me to shut up. This isn't a game.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
This is not a game. This is not entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. This is unlike any other radio broadcast that I think's ever really aired in this country. We are covering the globalist criminal takeover of the nation in real time. And because of that, we exposed the underwear bomber put on the plane by the CIA, had the eyewitnesses on the show, came out on C-SPAN and congressional hearings a month and a half later that was accurate. We blew that operation. We continue to blow their operations, to short-circuit their operations, to blame the American people for incredibly rare, infrequent terrorism that kills less people than honeybees do every year on record. I hammered those statistics for a while, and then Esquire, in the same issue that I was in with a cover story last year, did a story about the honeybees killing more people than terrorism. That's the point, is that the media is listening, the dinosaur media is listening, the new media, the real media is listening. This show has incredible power. And I don't say that from a perspective of narcissism or a power trip. I think everybody who works here, everybody that listens to this show, everybody that carries this broadcast, everyone who is affected by what's happening should realize that this broadcast, even though it's ragtag, is reaching 20 million people a week now, one way or another. Terrestrial, shortwave, AM, FM, internet, YouTube. Governments are listening. From Japan to Syria, from Russia to the United States, it's come out mainstream news. Because we really do know the enemy operation. I really have studied it for 25 years, almost 20 on air, since 1995. You do something 14, 15 hours a day. You talk to every expert out there. You get a very clear picture of what's going on. I live in a think tank. I live in a war room. And I told you, we've got to dig these clips up. I mean, it's every show that they were going to shoot police and blame it on the Bundy supporters. That they'd have a drill or something, and they've been having them in Las Vegas every week in the last month. They would shoot the patsies, have a few wind-up toy PR actors come out with the official story. The cops won't even know what's going on. The cops were really killed. The citizen was really killed. The so-called shooters are gotten rid of. And now you can project it on to who? Super Patriots, right wing, Tea Party, Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, Alex Jones. And folks, when you've got a website that has over 1 million visitors a day, all of our Facebooks, Twitter, you name it, about 3 million visitors a day conservatively, Prison Planet, all the other sites, prisonplanet.tv. Of course, almost everybody's visited Infowars.com. Are they going to go into every computer when somebody kills a cop and say, well, they visited ABC News, they visited DrudgeReport.com, they visited CNN? Why, they visited Yahoo homepage. Yahoo's to blame. Here's a headline. Daily Kos issues retraction of InfoWars Poplawski smear, 2009. Within 2 hours of 3 Pittsburgh cops being dead when dishonorably discharged Marine Poplawski got another pit bull that was crapping all over the floor. His mother kicked him out, wouldn't leave, called the police because the dog was urinating and defecating. That's on record. They show up, he throws a fit, kills 3 of them with a semi-automatic AK-47. Within 2 hours, they have it on the news, Southern Poverty Law Center, local writer, saying his computer said he did it for Alex Jones. We did a search and found out he was a white supremacist sworn to destroy me. Threatened to sue the newspapers and others and forced 6 different retractions, including in the Pittsburgh paper. Do you understand? Within 2 hours of them having him in custody, they were blaming me because he had visited InfoWars. And then we went and searched his handle and everything, and there he was on the white supremacist sites and the other Fed-run groups. A mentally unstable, drunken, unemployed, dishonorably discharged punk who dreamed of kicking my butt and attacking me and killing me, he said. And then he kills 3 cops, and I get the blame. Well, guess what? I forced a retraction there. And it's now reached the point, I want to warn everybody, I don't have time for lawsuits. I don't want to sue people. But I have to start suing people when they say I'm deeply racist or when they say I'm behind the Boston bombing. Because I have to say I'm not guilty of this, or they're going to teach the police in these briefing rooms, like I know they're doing, that I'm teaching the public to kill police, so the system sets me up and kills me or throws me in prison, ladies and gentlemen. And if they can get me, folks, they can get anybody. When they were trying to bring down Rush Limbaugh a few years ago, even though he's in direct competition with me in the same time slot, I went with Ted Anderson and bought $100,000 worth of advertising on Rush Limbaugh, and we lost a little bit of money, but I think we made like $90,000. It cost about $100,000. Why'd I do that? Because I put my money where my mouth is, folks. You understand that? We either stand up for talk radio and a free and open internet, and we either stand up for free speech. So I've got articles here where they're saying thought crime is terrorism. Holder's actually saying that. The guy who ran the cover-up of Oklahoma City as Deputy Attorney General, the guy that ran the false flag Fast and Furious and got caught lying about it, his own memo saying, we'll blame the Second Amendment and gun owners for the carnage. CBS News. This false flag, hardcore evil one has his White House-run MediaMatters and all the rest of them, RawStory, you name it, lining up before I went on air today to blame who? Alex Jones. Talk about ominous. I said that and thunder, lightning, just I heard the thunder right above the office. How many false flag bats? 1, 2, 3. I mean, it's just getting out of control, ladies and gentlemen. And quite frankly, I'm excited. I'm of good cheer. I'm a person who loves God and loves justice and loves the truth. And I can be proud of what I've done. And I can say that we've been pretty darn accurate, trying to get things right, trying to tell the truth. We've got about a 98% accuracy rate. And the system knows that. And it freaks them out that I know them so well. I'm like an old-fashioned police detective tracking the serial killer, getting closer and closer. And there's this weird relationship between me and the establishment that is just unbelievable. I mean, they're all watching right now. The Pentagon's watching right now. Foreign governments are watching right now. The George Soros groups are watching right now and admitting they're watching. Why? 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 Because I'll tell the truth and other people won't? That's why I'm so attacked. That's why I'm so demonized. That's why they have all the megaphone groups and disinfo and bots and and sock puppets, as they call them, online attacking. Alex is CIA. Alex works for the Vatican. Alex works for Israel. Alex is Bill Hicks. Alex is a Fed. Because they know I'm the opposite, folks. I work for justice. I get a real satisfaction out of standing up against evil. I get a complete fulfillment out of it. Not because I'm a hero, but because I won't be a slave. I won't sign on to this fraud. I see through the scam. I won't put my name on it. I'm in a fight for my life, ladies and gentlemen. And so are you. Make no mistake, the globalists have hated this country all along. They want to bring it down. I mean, look at these headlines on drudgereport.com. We'll put it on screen for TV viewers. America struggles with surge in child migration. Hundreds of thousands. The third world just says, put your kids on a plane, Obama will take them. I mean, that's in the news. Come to America, have your baby paid for. Judge, government has simply chosen not to enforce border security laws. Yeah, I was down on the Texas border 2 months ago, and I told you, no border patrol. None. None. We were 90 miles outside the border, and I was going to get ready to gripe at them for knowing we're U.S. citizens and wanting to search our vehicle. They just waved us through. There was one guy, he used to be about 20. Agents threatened with firing after photos leaked. Sheriff, feds should pay for housing. Feds drop plane loads of illegals in El Paso. You are free. You can leave. Hundreds more shipped to Arizona. I drove by a Home Depot this morning and was late to work, so I didn't pull over and get video. I saw literally, it looked like 100 illegals standing there. You wonder why unemployment's so bad? I'm not even against them, folks. The third world's collapsing under globalism, and the borders are wide open. This is the takeover. Growing concerns over diseases. Oh, yeah, leprosy, drug immune TB, you name it, it's here. Flesh-eating bacteria, all sorts of weird amoebas out of South America. No end in sight for dumping policy. White House launches program to provide lawyers to all the illegals with taxpayer money. Officers diverted from handling crimes. Cruz, Obama is lawless. Responsible for crisis. Cantor, time to strike deal. Yeah, the Republican leadership's going to come out and say, let's just capitulate because he's already legalized by fiat. You're seeing total lawlessness. Our military under NATO command. Al-Qaeda being publicly funded and freed. Prisoner releases that are illegal. On record. And Homeland Security in the sitcoms, the dramas, the cartoons, the news, the Patriots are going to start shooting cops. Guys in tricorner hats on Green Lantern cartoon killing cops. Shooting at cops. And I said, it's either going to be a stage false flag. You can see the pre-programming. A 2-year-old could see this if you were conscious. Or they know with their programming that there's enough suggestible people out of 315 mil that if you put enough of this out there, it's like suicide by cop. The more they advertise, go pull a gun on a cop, let him kill you, the more it happens. And you advertise, mad about what's going on, go kill a cop. You know, that's what they say in the media, not me. Then they come out and say, Alex Jones wants cops to get killed. Don't be with the Malcolm X. Be with the Martin Luther King. Be nonviolent. When we are nonviolent, offensively, we have a right to defend ourselves. No one can argue with that. And I've told the police this hundreds of times, and hundreds of times. Probably 400, 500, 600, I don't know. I'll say it again, and we'll mark it down right now. Here at 11:47, 35 seconds Central. On this date, Monday, the 9th day of June, 2014, that you are going to start seeing police vehicles IED'd. You're going to start seeing police shot up in restaurants everywhere. You're going to start seeing all sorts of attacks on police departments, you name it. And how did I know you were going to start seeing this? Ladies and gentlemen, when they put it out everywhere that it's about to happen and say when it happens, blame the Tea Party, and then it happens, and it's in Harry Reid's controlled state in his district, and he immediately blames it on the Bundys before anything comes out, and now it's blamed on me. It's so predictable, 2 + 2 = 4. They need the police and the military to wipe out the liberty movement, and we wipe them out. You notice the armored vehicles were no good against asymmetrical warfare. The Las Vegas police had those big, giant Homeland Security vehicles from Iraq there. It didn't mean anything. The police, under orders, stayed outside for over an hour at the Walmart before going in. The first beat cops ran in and started shooting, so the supposed people killed themselves. Who knows what's true? By the way, you saw Dorner, the cop, do this. Can we trust cops with guns if a cop goes bad? Was Dorner mind control? Was Dorner a setup? They weren't ready for it. It paralyzed them. They didn't blame the Liberty Movement. Maybe not. But let me tell you, this, with Jared and Amanda Miller, with the same M.O. of the Joker again, and the skinny man tying it into cartoons and comic books with no proof, the local Southern Poverty Law Center, ADL, they're always the usual suspects, start feeding the Democratic-run CNN, RawStory, all of them, Alex Jones, Alex Jones, Alex Jones. Because I'm the one saying, do not go out and randomly shoot a police officer. I've been saying that for about 5 years because I thought, if I was the globalist, what would I do? I could see it in the movies and their internal documents. They were starting to promote it to the public, but telling cops it was coming, that the Tea Party was going to come out and shoot them and kill them, and that every small town will be IED'd. Every cop listening knows they've been trained in this in the last 6 years, that you will be attacked by U.S. military veterans. Total crud. So when it starts, that's the official story. It tells you... And again, if they hype it enough, there might be mentally ill vets or something that might do it. So you prime the pump like a starter plug, you know, where you sit there and press on the four-wheeler to put some gas in before you start it. The opposite of the choke. The primer. They prime it and do a few more copycat cop killer deals. There's so many people on serotonin reuptake inhibitors that are in a dream state, they will march out like programmable zombies and start shooting cops. And I estimate in the Civil War, 300,000 police will die. I estimate if the military marches out against the gun owners, 500,000 dead. 2 million dead on the side of the Patriots. Won't matter, we'll have another 10 million where that came from. But it'll be a real war once they start it. We've got to stop the Civil War. Stop the Civil War. Don't kill cops. By the way, we have a planetinfowars.com, simple, primitive, but it works pretty good, social network for folks to, you know, get together for dating, camping, shooting, art, you name it. And hundreds of thousands of people use it. Guess what? The media is now saying, the White House connected groups, that Jared Miller had a planetinfowars.com account. You know, I guess they're doing a better job this time when they blame me for Poplawski killing the 3 cops, and turned out he hated me. He reportedly wrote, the police, to kill or not to kill. You need to be a registered member to rate this post. And it says, I stand at the point in my life where I am on probation and selling marijuana. I take the urine, so see... Again, this is what I said. Is this someone pushed to the edge, over the edge? Is this someone under organic, ambient background mind control in the culture? Or is this a patsy? And we just don't know. But we launched Planet InfoWars back in 2012, and it looks like this was set up right when it was created. So that should be newsworthy. That should give them a lot of grass to make hay with. Let's do searches on comments under his handle. Now, well, I guess I didn't get through to him that it was important not to go out and kill random police and to work as hard as you can to wake people up in the community. And I will say this, when you have militarized police, why do the Vietnamese fight more than 7 different cultures, from the Chinese to the Japanese to the Americans to the French, that have taken them over? Because they want to be free. You have tanks, you have men in uniforms, you have guys in drill sergeant hats. This weekend, I was at a hotel, Moody Gardens, with my kids down in Galveston, and I'm going down to the pool, and I have one of the hotel pool, I'm one of the room towels, and this guy said to me, hey, you're not supposed to have one of those towels down there. You know, you check towels out from them. And I said, okay, thanks. And he goes, they're going to tell you to take it back up to your room. And I went, okay. So I walk out, he's with his wife and his kid, and we start walking. He goes, what are you going to do with that towel? And I said, I'll just put it right here. There was like a table there in the hallway. And he was like, what are you doing? And I go, dude, are you a cop? And he got real mad. And he said, yeah, what's it to you? He was like a muscular guy with his wife and kid, a Hispanic guy. And I went, man, I just knew. God, just mind your own damn business, man. And the guy started to bow up. I was like, dude, you don't have your gun and your badge right now, man. You know, I can tell when I'm on the hike and bike trail when it's a bad cop, you know, on a kayak, you name it. They own everything. And most cops aren't like that, but they're trying to hire cops like that. And a lot of people are getting sick of it. They know you push the public hard enough, you'll get a real revolution. And I've said it doesn't need to be killing cops. But this whole thing looks like it's staged, and we'll continue to keep an open mind and look at all the angles. But it's Harry Reid's area. It's right after the Bundy deal. Harry Reid said there is this domestic terrorism coming. These people are terrorists. Let's play that clip.
So these people who hold themselves out to be patriots are not. They're nothing more than domestic terrorists. And I think that we are a country that people should follow the law. And what went up in Mesquite is not very good. I repeat, what went on up there is domestic tourism. Okay, domestic terrorism, not tourism.
There you go. Now, coming up, we got George Humphrey in studio at about 10 after with us. Former city council member, best-selling author, good friend of mine. I remember working with him in 1996 on Pat Buchanan's campaign in 95 in the primaries. He's going to be joining us. Dinesh D'Souza, the persecuted #2 documentary filmmaker of all time, 40 million grossed. He's been indicted by the criminal operation for free speech. He's going to be joining us as well. But before George Humphrey comes on, we found a bunch of the clips from a month ago where I predicted the tragedy that just happened. We need a revolution of understanding and of nonviolence and of freedom.
Visit
the globalists are going to start a physical revolution by pushing the people. Now, folks, I'm going to play these again in the next segment because some stations don't carry this segment. I do talk radio a little bit different than others. George Humphrey, my old friend and mentor at many levels, is going to be in studio with us. But before I go any further, I want liberty and I want justice and I want freedom in this country. And I want to get our focus off the globalists because they're a joke. But they're dominating our society, so we have to focus on the things they're doing. There are so many beautiful, good things going on in this world, and that's why we who are positive have to focus on some of the negative so it can be identified and dealt with. Jared Amanda Miller, we found their Facebook. We've tied it into planetinfowars.com. Blaming our social network is like blaming Facebook. I want that point made in the article Kit and Adon are putting together. The media, before that was even discovered, were already blaming me yesterday and today, we've now learned. I wasn't sure when I first started the show if I'd been blamed yet. I was blamed last night and this morning by Democratic affiliate-run groups. When I'm on record, and just in the last hour, the crew has been able to find a bunch of clips, John Bound and others. CJ, tell folks about some of these clips because I haven't even seen them yet. What's the first clip and what's the date?
The first clip we have is from April 26th. You were claiming to be set up, or the Tea Party group and Americans alike is being set up to look like false flag terrorists.
Let's play that clip. I mean, I know I said over and over again they're going to shoot cops in restaurants. Let's go ahead and play that clip. Every once in a while, I get things wrong, and I admit when I get things wrong. I wish I was wrong about all this. It's not fun to have White House run CNN, MSNBC, MediaMatters, saying I'm deeply racist with no proof, and that I'm violent, and I want to kill cops, and I want a war. They're saying that so cops start thinking I'm a bad guy, so when they set me up, nobody comes to my aid. I'm being set up. But that's part of the mission. And again, that's just some of the preliminary clips they've been able to find. You've all heard it. You know I've said they're going to shoot cops in public places. They're going to blame it on the Tea Party to have Homeland Security come after the Liberty Movement. They officially launched the terrorism task force in all 50 states for the Tea Party, saying we're terrorists last week. This starts up. Now we found photos of the supposed shooter at Richard Mack events, you name it. I mean, this is going to get bad, folks. And what they have is they'll have an informant or somebody that goes to our events. Then they set the informant up later, kill them, and then blame us. And that's what's happened in false flags before. You understand that? They've done this before. Fast and Furious was a false flag. Operation Gladio, they did a lot of things like this. Operation Northwoods is how the U.S. Army would stage shootings in public places to blame their enemies. That was declassified in early 2000. What's the next clip, CJ?
Well, we've got one from the 19th of May here. You predicting basically the same thing, which you've done hundreds of times. Here it is.
And ladies and gentlemen, more than a decade before they got ready for the Desert Storm and all that, they were already getting ready to shut up Saddam by telling him to invade Kuwait and the rest of it, and the Iran-Iraq war. They were getting ready for Desert War. And now, for the decade, it happened under Bush, but it's accelerated under Obama, they are now preparing for war with who? Gun owners, veterans, pro-lifers, libertarians, Americans, good people. And so we're here covering this to force a debate about it. Because if there's a debate about this, they're not going to be able to do it. But it will be... They will stage a false flag, and then that will be preceded by the, quote, Civil War. They're going to blow up schools, you name it, blame them on the Liberty Movement. Then they're going to come after us in a purge. Then a real civil war is going to start. I think it'll kill probably 300,000 police. Yeah, in that particular clip, I talk about blowing up schools. That's part of it, too. There's a bunch of clips where I say shoot cops in restaurants. Because I know how they work. They did that in Vietnam. They would kill some of our own troops sometimes. Well, we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with us. There is just total lawlessness, false flag attacks like Benghazi, and, of course, documented false flag, Fast and Furious. And over again, they have tried to frame yours truly for people that shoot cops. Richard Poplawski, in 2009, we forced a retraction by the paper in Pittsburgh and at least five other publications. Daily Kos issues retraction of InfoWars, Poplawski smear. But you notice you started hearing Harry Reid say about a month ago, there's going to be terror attacks, it's the Tea Party. And then they launched this Homeland Security in every town and city last week task force saying the Tea Party's about to start shooting cops and bombing police vehicles. The police need tanks on the streets because the veterans are about to hit them and hit them hard. With none of this happening. Now that does two things. It means they're about to stage stuff. Corporate, globalist, criminal, spy interest. And most importantly, they're getting ready to point Homeland Security at their political enemies. That's in the news today. And the former NSA director has come out and said an attack is going to come if you don't give up all your rights to the NSA from al-Qaeda. While they're letting al-Qaeda go, while they are giving them weapons in Syria, it's incredible. So we've got that report coming up as well from CNN. General Keith Alexander warned that the NSA, mired in controversy, won't be able to keep us safe, so terrorists will hit us. So if you don't give your rights up, you're a cop killer, folks. If you don't go along with the system, why you might be someone who wants to kill cops like Alex Jones, when I'm saying clearly in the propaganda, they're getting ready to stage bombings of schools, shootings of police, because it's in the movies, the dramas, and in the news with no proof. It'd be like if I was saying somebody's going to burn down the police department next week. Someone at midnight's going to throw a Molotov cocktail on the door. Well, either I'm the main suspect if it happens because I'm saying it's going to happen, or I caused it to copycat. Or if you were saying that. See how it works? Mainstream media is saying the veterans are going to IED. You will be hit by veterans attacking you. The Tea Party's going to blow stuff up. West Point's main training mission is to fight the Tea Party domestically. That's Forbes, AP, Reuters. This is crazy. And then now it starts. Right as Obama implodes the borders. Right as they implode the economy with Obamacare. Right as they say our military is under NATO control. Right as Bank of America starts announcing capital controls over the weekend. So much news in the feature archive I didn't even get to. Now, Dinesh D'Souza joins us in the next hour. Persecuted, #2 documentary filmmaker in history. 40 million grossed domestically and worldwide with his Obama 2016. He had a new movie coming out to unify immigrants around being free market and not being socialist. He's been arrested. Total political persecution. We're all in this together, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone who's truly populist, anyone who's a true liberal, like Thomas Jefferson, and I see myself in that vein, anyone that calls for people to come together, anyone that talks about Americana is an enemy. Now, we've got all these clips of where I predicted. We're going to play them again. I played them in the last segment where I said they're going to stage the stuff. They're going to attack police and blame it on us. Just in April, and then a month after that in May, because I see the programming. This isn't hard to do. And now, supposedly, Jared and Amanda Miller had a planetinfowars.com account. We've checked it. He used to live in Indiana. His Facebook says that, too. Is Facebook going to be blamed because he had a Facebook? You see? But before the media even found this, because we found it, they were blaming me last night and this morning. RawStory, you name it. Vegas shooters, revolution shooters ID'd as right-wing conspiracy nuts with a death wish. Obsessed with the Joker, like the last 3 shootings. Then, obsessed with the skinny man that's stabbings all over the country. Am I going to be blamed for stabbings in this goth death culture that then meets anti-government because the cops beat them up? Are they products of the corrupt culture? Taking out their vengeance on the innocent police, which is despicable and a terrible idea for liberty? Or is it some type of setup? They were part of a drill. They were killed. We know that's happened before. We're looking at it all right now. My gut tells me this happened in Harry Reid's controlled area, Las Vegas. He's saying that we're domestic terrorists. They're tying it to Bundy Ranch with no proof, and now the proof is being provided afterwards. That sounds like a setup. Now, George Humphrey is a best-selling author, and then magically 2 cops get shot. And then the shooters supposedly get shot, the guy and his girlfriend. Oh, and guess what's on his Facebook page? So easy to set this up. Facebook that works with you-know-who so closely. Alex Jones, #1. Alan West, Representative Alan West. We'll do a document cam for TV viewers, and I'll show folks this. And then it continues on here with, Rand Paul, about Jared Miller. And this links through to him saying he lives in Vegas. 3%er nation. Just Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan's fault. But the media is not picking up on that. The media is demonizing yours truly. So, 2 Ronald Reagans. Oh, George Washington. My gosh, it's all his fault now. The 2 cops got shot. So, the Heritage Foundation. Another Rand Paul. So there you go. It's all their fault. Jesse Ventura. Greg Palast, the liberal. Oh, my gosh. The marijuana. Oh, Governor Gary Johnson. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go to George here in just a moment. First off, I want to tell listeners about the fact that this hour is brought to you by the great folks at mypatriotsupply.com/Alex. Now is the time to have storable preparedness foods that last more than 20 years, non-GMO, super high quality, who I choose for my family. They got a lot of other great preparedness items. mypatriotsupply.com/Alex. That's the place to go, in my view. A lot of books on tape. If you want to plug any of those, feel free, my friend. I hope you write a new book soon. I know you've been very busy in all your other research. But, you heard me before I did that plug there. Talk about what's going on with this demonization campaign. You heard during the break, as we read from his Planet InfoWars comments, and it appears to be him, where he, says, I'm never going to shoot any police. I never plan to shoot any police. Funny that he says things like that. Now they say he's done this, but he's conveniently dead. He says, who knows anyone can trust anybody, really. I'm done for the most part, done talking. Hopefully people will follow my lead when I strike back with Luke and the Ewoks. This is the kind of stuff he's saying here. And he says, looks to me like they want very specific ways of thinking for their slaves, so they'll show up and take the domestic terrorist away, and they shoot police. They can turn to each other and say, see, we told you. So he's talking about the government shooting police. Or if someone fights back, because he's obviously a listener hearing where I'm saying don't have a civil war, don't shoot police. As the media is hyping, patriots are going to shoot police to turn the police against us, with the ADL and Southern Poverty Law Center telling them constantly, I'm doing this. All right, folks, we've got the Las Vegas Police Department and Sheriff's Department clips here. And the globalists have been building up a war. They've been building up tanks, helicopters, weapons, literally drilling against George Washington himself in the training manuals. Bad-mouthing the Founding Fathers. The Founding Fathers wouldn't be welcome in the military. You're not a communist. You're not good. They're There's a lot of pressure in this country. There's a lot of unstable people. And Jared and Amanda Miller were the classic type that wanted to be somebody, kind of like natural-born killers, if you believe the picture put on the internet that anybody could be framed with. I personally have had people put up fake websites of me, fake audio, edited video. So I've been through this a lot. I don't just believe a criminal government that staged Fast and Furious and so many other events and that funds Al-Qaeda. But they are now all over the news. If you type my name into Google News, trying to connect me, Ron Paul, Rand Paul, you name it, to this. And they were doing it last night before anything was even found. And now they're saying, yes, they were at the Cliven Bundy Ranch. And yes, they're part of the white supremacist sovereign citizen. They mix white supremacist in with sovereign citizen, and then that's a label they put on anybody that's basically not left of Lenin. So here is a clip of that press conference. And I want to open the phones up to you out there to get your take on what you think about this. While, again, honeybees kill 200-something people. Wasps kill hundreds of people every year. Deer jumping out in front of cars kill over 300. I mean, you know, cops, #1 cause of death being dying in automobile accidents or being hit while they're writing tickets. You know, they're gangbangers that shoot cops for no reason. I mean, you know, cops not one of the most dangerous professions. It's not like a Navy diver or something, but it'd be a dangerous profession. I don't want that job, especially with the type of federalization you've got, what they're being told to do. But I've said it before. I mean, as for a restoration of this republic, a intellectual velvet revolution, the police, even though we see bad videos of them and bad examples and bad apples, despite all the things the system's doing, they've been bucking the system. And they're more pro-gun than the general public by light years. They're more aware of what's going on because they understand criminology and things, especially cops that have been in a while, you know, who aren't just out writing tickets. And the military is the most awake group. I mean, just 80+%. Then you've got the police. I mean, I got to say 50, 60, 70%, maybe higher. Secret Service. I mean, if I'm in a restaurant, there's Secret Service in there. I can't stop them buying me food and drinks. Federal marshals, same deal. And then you're like, I'm getting mad at these people all day talking bad about them. And they're all, oh, we know, we know. I mean, I was down at the federal building for the JFK thing. And the feds were like waving, hey, Alex, we like the show. And the security guard, federal security police, actually police and all this other stuff. But then it didn't matter. The Dallas police were listeners. So they hired a group of thug auxiliary bouncers in, dressed like 6'4" guys on average, dressed up in sheriff's department outfits that are openly Democratic Party to literally beat people up for no reason, just so they could, you know. So I've said this to everybody. I know people are mad about the system, bad about the corrupt courts, mad about not being able to pay your bills, and then, you know, the cop pulls you over and gives you a ticket, whatever. That's no reason to kill somebody if this was real. It has a lot of signs it could have been staged. I don't know. But if people want to lose to the New World Order and the globalists, they will start when the globalists stage more of this or wind people up to do this and the cops start getting more brutal to the liberty movement. If the public goes crazy when that happens, it'll be a civil war. So I would tell the police, and I think most departments are smart enough to know this, if you go out picking fights with people that are in the Tea Party, picking fights with people that are in the liberty movement, who statistically are the most law-abiding citizens out there, you can pull those numbers up, you're going to have some kind of comic book character, DC Comics type, goth, pib, and I'm not against goths or pibs, but you know what I mean. Look at most of the mass shooters have been into goth, death, and comic books, and shoot-'em-up video games, and nihilism and drug culture. And this guy's Facebook and his other pages on planetinfowars.com, that's what they basically said they were into. They were desperate. They felt disempowered. They felt powerless. And so they went out and found some Las Vegas cops to kill, if you believe the official story, which, again, we don't know if it's true or not. The most senseless, pointless, mindless, stupid, loser, just the worst thing you could do. I mean, why not start following Harry Reid around to his different luncheons and stuff and call yourself press? You are. Start a website, put advertising on it, use the enemy's own system, Google ads on it, and finance yourself exposing them peacefully And I mean, they'll hate you. There's nothing they can do because there's too many of us. Yeah, this happened in Harry Reid's territory. It happened right after the Bundy Ranch thing. You knew they'd pull something. I said they're going to pull a false flag, probably shooting cops. And I know I said that probably since Bundy Ranch thing 100 times. In the last couple of years, 300, 400, 500 times. You've all heard it ad nauseum. I'm sure you're sick of hearing it. We'll find the clips. We found some of them, but not the specific ones. Because if I was the globalist who are willing to stage all these other false flags, I would have black ops grab these people out of their houses to set up patsies because they fit a profile with their emails, get them in the back of a truck, march them into the Walmart, shoot them both in the head, have an inside job security guy in the Walmart turn the security camera off in that area. This is just one way to do it. I'm not saying this is how it was done. This is just one way to do it. And then you had people, I bet they were dressed up, whoever did it. That's the disguise. The Joker and a lady shoot the cops, then go in, shoot one more for good measure, and then right at the same time, 1 minute later, again, they don't even know why they're there. They get shot in the head. Or maybe they're drugged and you bring them in. Or maybe they're organically produced by this sick society. I don't know. But because some guy wants to dress up in a clown outfit, and kids and Mr. Skinny outfits, just because they want to do that and then go around killing people, I don't need to lose my butcher knives at my house because you've got kids all over the country. Let me find the article right here. Going around killing people, saying they're doing it for, there it is, Wisconsin girl stabs 19 times by friends, leaves hospital after telling family she wanted to live. And then again, they do it because of the comic book character, the Slender Man, saying Skinny Man. And then a 12-year-old stabbed, all this stuff. I mean, the guy with the Hunger Games director supposedly killed 6 people and then himself 7. 3 of them were stabbed. That was like buried in the news. Who knows if any of this is real? And you notice Dianne Feinstein has introduced a bill to get family members to rat on each other over guns. And if a family member just says they're concerned about it, not even that you made a threat, your guns are gone. To the end of the Second Amendment. Feinstein and Boxer introduced a bill to rat out family member with a firearm exploiting Isla Vista shooting in a new bid to confiscate firearms for American citizens. California Democrats Senator Dianne Feinstein and Barbara Boxer are exploiting the shooting in a new bid. The Pause for Safety Act will allow families. This guy had the police called like 5 times on him, all sorts of stuff. Been saying he was going to kill people, if you even believe it. Families and others to seek gun violence prevention order in court will allow police to confiscate firearms from people who have not committed a crime and may not necessarily pose a threat who have made threats. I mean, that is just such a big deal. What is your take on this latest event and the fact that yours truly is now being blamed by the usual Democratic Party front grips? I mean, how are they going to try to set me up? They're already trying to put Dinesh D'Souza. He has multiple charges. Each one of them, I think, carries 5 years. One of the charges carries 10. I know I read that. This guy's facing all these years in prison because he publicly went and got 4 of his friends to bundle and give $20,000 to a lady in an uphill battle in the Senate running for Hillary Clinton's seat in New York. They wait all these years to come after him. And he's like, I must have made a mistake, because you can go set up a PAC and give $1 million. I mean, they're literally legalizing all the illegals and saying, come here if you have poor kids. Just have your kids, whatever. And that's fine. But Dinesh D'Souza is facing prison. He'll just make his film bigger. It'll just backlash against you. I want to hear from folks out there. You know what I want to hear from first before I give the number out? What if you're a police officer? I mean, what do you think about this? I mean, statistically, they want you to be totally afraid where you shoot citizens for no reason. You think everybody's trying to kill you every minute. I mean, statistically, your chances of having someone randomly walk in and shoot you are just astronomical. What are there, a couple million cops total in this country? A little over 2 million police. It's gone up from less than 1 million 10 years ago. And you might have, what, a few dozen a year that randomly get shot, usually by gangs. Most of it happens in like Oakland and Chicago. And then now they're going to say the Tea Party's behind this and try to start some fad. I mean, do you agree with me or disagree with me? Military. I like you're from active duty military as well. I mean, have you heard me on air say this was coming? Even if it's not staged, hyping that people are going to start killing cops everywhere randomly, the Tea Party is putting the idea out there, folks. Media Matters, White House run. Alex Jones alleges that Las Vegas cop ambush was absolutely staged by Harry Reid and other conspirators. No, I said my gut tells me it's absolutely staged. That's in quotes, absolutely staged. I'm not specifically saying Harry Reid did anything. We all know he's a sweet little old man who walks old ladies across the street. Well, tyranny loves company when it comes to demonizing people. RawStory's now demonizing myself and Breitbart. So Breitbart thought they'd toady up and run some of the disinfo that I've been promoting violence and stuff. And now they're being set up. See how that works, trying to be friends with the Democrats? I mean, the Democrats, folks, I've always been nonpartisan. They're trying to take over right now. And they're authoritarians. And look at how they screw poor people. I want to go to your phone calls. Rabbit, Julie, Jerry, and Roger. And, again, when I don't want police to call in or I don't ask them to, we get full lines of police. I don't think any police have been able to get through or called in. I want to get their take on this, but America's filled with a lot of weirdos now. And when the Depression fully hits, it won't be like the 1920s and 30s, folks. This country's a time bomb. And if I was the police, I wouldn't be trying to follow Media Matters, White House spin to have war with the Tea Party and the veterans. They want to sit back while we all kill each other. Let's just not do it. And again, I'll say it for probably the 500th time. You don't go out and kill police. Yes, that's something that the French resistance did to Nazi police in France. But that's not, our police aren't Nazis. They're misguided in many cases. They're globalist controlled, just like the bank down the street might be. You don't go shoot the teller because, you know, Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan is corrupt. I mean, it's the same deal. It's insane. Let's go to Rabbit in Wisconsin. What's your take on all this?
My take on this Vegas shooter, along with what's happened in Waukesha, is how you were saying earlier. It's all MK Ultra, MK Naomi mixed in with satanic possession. And it's reflecting the culture we created, and we're reflecting right back into it.
Yeah, I see women just everywhere with cuts all over their arms now. I know cutting's been big for a while, but it's getting epidemic. I mean, am I to blame for that? I mean, it's just a bunch of weirdness going on. And can you imagine if a full-bore depression hits and the welfare checks don't make it? Can you imagine the explosion that's going to happen? Of course, I'll be blamed.
Well, these type of things are just going to happen more and more often until it's just so overwhelming, and then people will just bend over backwards and accept any sort of panacea the government dishes out. And I think that's what they're setting the stage for. I think it's important to stay calm and level-headed and really kind of focus in on getting yourself right, getting your family right, and making sure you're not only prepared, but you're at peace.
I mean, imagine walking into a pizza place cold-bloodedly and just shooting two people in the back of the head. I mean, it's just insane. I appreciate your call. Of course, imagine burning up a church full of little kids at Waco because you wanted to kill their parents. I mean, it's evil. Waco's wrong. This is wrong. Julie in California, go ahead.
Hey, Alex, how are you? This whole thing just stinks. I mean, the guy who apparently did this, Jared Miller, you know, I guess he cultivated marijuana. He was on probation. He did jail time, I guess, in 2013. It's all on his Facebook page. But
yeah, you're going to have gang mentality people that latch onto the Patriot movement. It's inevitable. Just like gang people get in the military, or just like a cop ran around, you know, in California shooting people. It doesn't mean all cops are responsible for Dorner. Go ahead.
Not, but I mean, they're trying with a broad brush to paint everybody the same color. And it can't work. It cannot work. The NRA has really got to get out and get ahead of this message and say, hey, look, there's a problem here.
No, the message is a crazy guy with a gun killed a bunch of cops and shut down Southern California. Cops aren't to blame. Next, even if it's true, crazy guy whether it's staged or not. Sure stinks like it. Shoots 2 cops. You know, not everybody in the Tea Party's fault. I mean, it's that simple. We don't let them cause a civil war. That's the goal. That's the goal. Overdrive coming up. Thank you, Julie. Paul, Roger, and Jerry. We're going to jam you all in. Maybe Eddie if we have time. Back in 70 seconds. Overdrive. Well, anyone right of Satan, if you use the left-right false paradigm, is now being connected to the shooters who dressed up like comic book characters. Nobody will talk about that. Why do the people keep dressing up like that when they kill people? Let's go to Roger in Nevada. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Alex. I have the Las Vegas Journal newspaper in front of me, and they have right here, it says 2 Las Vegas officers, bystanders slain. It says shooters in ambush spoke of white supremacy, desire to kill police. And it said in the second paragraph of the newspaper, I'm just going to quote it for you. It said they were showing a Revolutionary War era flag. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to tie this into that all of us, you know, and I think, are guilty. You know, they're trying to accuse all of us who enjoy freedom, you know, and I think they're trying to spin us off that we're the bad guys, which we're not.
Well, the White House is freaking out about this with MediaMatters right now and saying that I said Harry Reid did it. I'm saying he runs that area. He stands to gain. He's been involved in Fast and Furious. I think they are suspects in bare minimum, like we find out with this last shooter out in California, knowing something was going on and doing nothing. I mean, this is the opportune timing of this. If a group staged false flags before, then they're suspects in every new event. It's that simple, basic criminology. That's all I have to say. Good points, Roger. Jerry in Georgia, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex. I called. I told them that if you go to these guys' hometown newspaper, the Lafayette newspaper, it's got the guy's whole rap sheet. He's been up for drug charges, criminal recklessness, battery charges, battery with strangulation.
No, I know. I've seen it. He fits the M.O. of an informant sent to the Bundy Ranch and then set up in a drill. Go ahead.
Well, no, my point is, instead of the headline saying violent ex-felon drug dealer shoots 2 cops, they skew the headline to what they want it to say.
Oh, I agree. And we need to get a big article out exposing all this. I mean, are police to blame for Dorner?
And Alex, if you Google Chicago weekend shootings, there were 30 shootings with 3 dead in Chicago this weekend.
Hey, that's a good point. 30 dead in Chicago shootings. Media ignores to blame Vegas on Tea Party. There's your headline right there.
All you have to do is Google the major cities where there are strict gun laws. Every Monday, they have the weekend shooting tally. And it's like, but this is something they can use, so it's got national news.
No, exactly. Yep, there is the NBC headline, Chicago, 30 shot, 4 fatally in weekend Chicago violence. But because that's gang-related, oh, it's a non-issue, we can't blame Alex Jones. But, oh, my gosh, we got a guy in a clown outfit. It must be Alex Jones's fault. I mean, I'm getting so sick of this. And I've caught him before planting stuff and making stuff up. I don't know if that's the case here, but, I mean, you know, we reach 20 million people a week. There are going to be some bad people that listen, but my gut tells me this stinks. I mean, CJ, give me your honest opinion in there. I mean, does this smell to you?
It smells a little bit, but, you know, somebody going nuts, it's a little plausible, but like you said before, if the
should we arrest all police, though, because Dorner would kill people?
Sure, why not? We've got jails big enough.
Yeah, I think that's the answer. Because, I mean, any way you slice it, it's the sick culture. And a guy that was institutionalized the whole time. All right, thank you.
Adults dressing up like comic book characters. Again,
Paul, what do you think? Exactly, it's the culture. Paul in California, what do you think? Real fast.
I just want to say this whole thing was sick, and it's set up. It looked like it's set up. And hello?
No, I'm listening to you, brother.
Sorry. All I can say is all these other alternative news media that's online or whatever are going to be calling for a RawStory, like you said earlier. I looked at the story, had your name on it, Ron Paul's name on it, and they said this guy they put a Gadsden flag on the cops. I find that suspect at all. And all these other alternative media are going to be calling
it just reeks of frame up. It reeks of frame up. Unbelievable.